What's up, YouTube? Long time no see. I'm gonna try and make this video quick with a flashback coming up in a few hours and all. So today I am gonna show you a very cheap and fun build. It does not require any specific uniques or any specific items. It is a very solo self-hunt friendly. It is a max block, Mind Over Matter, Detonate Dead, Necromancer. I played this build during the Mayhem event, and I had a lot of fun with it, and I also played it during the Endless Delve in hardcore, and I made it down to depth 424 before I got smacked to bits. So this build is as much copy-paste off of Waggle's version as I could. And before we get into more details, this build is a very good mapper. It's very tanky, but it is very weak against bosses, most notably the Guardians, Shaper, etc. Maybe I'm just doing the single target all wrong, but I don't know. Something very important to note, there is currently a bug with Desecrate and Detonate Dead, where if you have a Bone Roa mob in your Desecrate pool, and you target the Roa, you cannot detonate the Desecrate. So this almost got me killed countless times in the Endless Delve race. So the choice of Necromancer is very simple. The biggest damage output is arguably from the Detonate Dead's 6% life corpse explosion. So we want to scale the life of the corpses as much as we can. And we do this with Spiritual Aid, which is the only way of globally scaling the explosion damage, along with the Undertaker Wheel, which gives the corpse we spawn an additional 30% increased life. Necromancer Ascendacy also has Corpse Pact, which gives us an additional 50% increased life, along with the fact that our Desecrate now will shock any nearby mobs for additional damage. Interestingly enough, Necromancer not only offers offense, but also great defense. With the node Mistress of Sacrifice, offering skills meant for minions will now also affect us as well, for half the value, which means Bone Offering at level 20 will grant us roughly 17% extra chance to block. This, along with block notes on the tree and a Rumi's Flask, we easily hit the max block without the use of glancing blows. And since we don't really benefit too much from auras, we also stack mana and grab Mind Over Matter for an additional layer of defense. Now, since my character is dead in a Void League, I will have to show you my gear from the website. I have set up a character on standard that I've been messing around with, mostly for Delve, and I was also planning to mess around with a CI setup, but I just haven't had the time. So let's start by looking at the gear, and we'll check out the gem setups after. So our helmet should be a bone helmet for the minion damage implicit, which with Spiritual Aid now grants us damage. As for enchants, you'd ideally want the chance to detonate an additional corpse, but Desecrate creating 2 additional corpses is a nice burst damage just as well. For our weapon, we would want a minion damage roll mod from the Temple of Atzotl, which can roll up to, I believe, 95%. You could also go with a Convoking Wand, trying to hit the minion damage mana hybrid, and then bench the minion damage. But cheapest and easiest is probably Essence of Fear, as the previous would require a multi-mod, which is expensive, and we would want to craft trigger socket spells, which requires an open suffix. And I will explain more in detail what we want to trigger and how to set it up, meanwhile, while we don't have access to the craft. So our shield should be a high block base, like a titanium or a thorium shield. We want to try and hit spell block. Ideally, we maybe even want a shaper shield to try and hit reduced gem reservation, along with it for a stronger Mind Over Matter. The ideal chest piece would be a Carcass Jack, or even a Shroud of the Lightless, which could potentially be easier to link since it's a 5-link supported by an additional gem, making it an actual 6-link. And the Socketed gems are supported by level 20 elemental penetration. It should be level 20, so this is a legacy version, so I could fix that with a divine, I think. Yep, there we go. And a level 25 elemental penetration gives the same as a level 20 fire pen. One of our rings should be a flammability on hit ring. Pay no attention to my minimum frenzy bullshit that I have everywhere. I'm just messing around for delve. Ideal belt should be a Stygian Vise with a Abyss Jewel with Onslaught. The rest of the gear is the straight up life, resist, and dexterity. Now, I said we were going to look at the gear on the website, and here we are looking at this is my standard character. So just a quick look here. So basically, literally all my gear here is essentially alter eagle. It's kind of garbage, except maybe the flammability ring I found. Like it's almost straight up just alter eagle everything. Alright, so let's have a look at the gem setup. So I guess we'll start with the trigger. So in our weapon, we want Bone Offering and Tempest Shield. So if you've never played with a trigger before, it won't do all the spells at once, but rather it will rotate them. So the order matters. So it will do Bone Offering the first time, and the next time I cast a spell, it will do Tempest Shield. So if you don't have access to the trigger craft, maybe you're playing a fresh start on Solo Self-Found or another future delve event where we don't have access to the bench, your setup should be cast without taken, Bone Offering, Tempest Shield, and Steel Skin. Like I have, like so. I have a level 14 cast without taken, and a 17 Bone Offering, and then 17 Tempest Shield, and then a 18 Steel Skin. So this worked beautifully for me in delve. So once I got to the mid 300s, like 350, 360 depths, I started to use a self-cast Bone Offering just in case. Your Desecrate should be linked with Spell Cascade, Faster Casting, and Arcane Surge. So as for mobility, me personally, I prefer to run with Smoke Mine and Flame Dash, but if you'd like, you could run with Shield Charge, Faster Attacks, and Fortify. So adding the Fortify is adding even more layers of defense. So we have Arcanist Brand linked up with Wave of Conviction and Combustion. So I used to have Wave of Conviction self-cast for the fire exposure, and then I had Storm Brand to proc the Elemental Overload. But you know, the Arcanist Brand clears up the action bar a little bit and does 2 birds in 1 stone. The Wave of Conviction will pulse and hit everything with fire exposure. The then added Combustion support will have a chance to ignite the monsters, which will lower the monsters' fire resistance even more. And with 3 brands pulsing, we are increasing our chances of proccing Elemental Overload. We also run Herald of Ash, which adds an amazing clear to our AoE. So I'll just pop in a map here quickly, and I'll try and show you what Herald of Ash actually does. So if we can find some mobs. This is without Herald of Ash. We can try, dude. And then we add Herald of Ash and see if it does anything different. Yeah, so it adds a lot to the clear speed, Herald of Ash. So I also run Enduring Cry, but that is mostly just as an extra healing flask, rather than trying to stack up the actual endurance charges. We also run Raise Spectre, even though this isn't a minion build, and the reason is kind of interesting. So certain monsters have a higher life pool than others, and we want to detonate high life pool monsters. So by raising specters of said mobs, we also add them to the spawn pool of Desecrate. So the specters I'm using are Necromancer and Stoneskin Slayers, and both of them can only be found in the city biome Primeval Ruins in Delve. So you don't actually have to go into the thing. You just have to be in the actual biome. You have to be in the zone, and you just have to desecrate until you get them. So these specters have a lot of life without any supports, and I've only really seen them die like late, mid depth 300. So adding the support minion life to the specters, it won't do anything to our damage. But if you find that your specters are dying a lot, and you have a slot open, it would be an ideal choice to slot that in. I don't really know a whole lot about Spectre, so please don't ask me about alternatives to these two, but please do give suggestions if you have. Alright, so now for the main course. So we run Detonate Dead along with, in order, Unleash, Spell Cascade, Elemental Focus, Fire Penetration, and Energy Leech. Now, because the fact that our Desecrate can chill and shock, you could use Hypothermia instead of Energy Leech. They seem to do about the same damage in passive building, but if you're struggling with chroming your colors, or if you had like a corrupted 6-link drop, it would be nice to know that you could replace Energy Leech with Hypothermia instead. As for the Vol version of Detonate Dead, it's more of a quality of life, honestly, than a necessity, but I strongly recommend trying to get the Vol version, because it is really nice single target, and especially in Delve, it's just a really nice oh shit button. So my flask setup is Seething, Quartz, Quicksilver, a Rumis Concoction, and a Enduring and Eternal Mana Flask. A bubbling Eternal Mana would work just as well. It would actually technically work better for your mana recovery for Mind Over Matter, but with an Enduring, and say you have warding on it like I do here, I will have the flask duration for, well, I will have the full flask duration, while a bubbling, if I fill up my mana immediately, then the duration ends there. So it's just really nice to know that the uptime is going to be there. As for the tree and Ascendacy, depending on how worried you are about your resists while leveling, you could start off by grabbing Commander of Darkness and then spec out of it later. But we first grab Plaguebringer, and then Corpse Pact, and then Mistress of Sacrifice, and then Essence Glutton. So Essence Glutton is mostly for Mind Over Matter, since this is a life-based build. So as you can see, we pick up a lot of block nodes. We do not pick up Glancing Blows, because it's unnecessary to take the 65% damage penalty when we can easily hit the cap. So right now we have 38, 39. Get the Bone Offering along with Tempest Shield, we pop up to 58 and 59, and then we pop Rumis, we're at 75 and 69. We also pick up some mana nodes for Mind Over Matter, like Deep Thought, Arcane Will, Prodigal Perfection for some extra damage. We also pick up Spiritual Aid, as I said, and Divine Judgment, Righteous Decree, and Unwavering, which is our stun immunity. I also have a Lethal Pride, and the goal with the Lethal Pride on this build is to divine it enough to where we can get two where we can get 2 chance to deal double damage. We want at least 2 of them. The rest are going to be random, like here's to give me extra fire rest, totem damage, Warcry buff effect, life regen, fist damage, crit multi. So literally the only thing benefiting me here is the double damage, which was what I was going for. The Lethal Pride is definitely not needed, but it is what we can do for the single target. As for Annoints, you could do literally anything, honestly. You could go for Heart of Flame, you could go for Constitution, you could go for, where is it, Deflection. As for damage, I feel Heart of Flame is probably the best. You could grab Disciple of the Slaughter, which I have here, but the Frenzy is strictly for this character. The Frenzy is strictly for Delve, and when I say that, I mean face run. So I'm stacking Frenzy charges so that I can use face run for longer in Delve. for the build itself, just ignore all the frenzy stuff on this character. So as for leveling, at level 12 I grabbed Stormbrand and used that until level 28, where I swapped to Armageddon Brand, which is extremely broken strong to level with. My supports for that were Burning Damage, Elemental Prolif, which at level 38 we then swapped to Ignite Prolif instead, and then my last 4 was Combustion. I also added a single target Cremation at level 28, and my supports were Pinpoint, Elemental Focus, and Fire Pen. So my progression through the tree was mostly filling the left side first. I can show you here. This is the plan tree, and not like, I don't think this is what I did literally, but we grab like all of the walker nodes for extra resist. Rush up for elemental overload. We then head over for explosive impact. We head down to Templar for life and we put more damage. I did not pick up Mind of Matter yet. I prefer to wait with Mind of Matter until I have a mana pool over 700. So we then pick up more life, some AoE, and I also start to pick up some more mana. I then also go up for Cruel Preparation, grab more mana, and we'll also grab Spiritual Aid. You don't really have to fill out the mana here. I don't think I actually did, but what I mainly did was after Spiritual Aid. Wait, did I grab Devotion? No. So after Spiritual Aid, I grab Devotion, and I then go down for Tireless. And I then go down for Unwavering and Barbarism. At which point I start to pass through here and down to Undertaker, so that I have this by the time I go to Detonate Dead. And then, you know, fixing all of the pathing. You know, respecing all of the nodes out of here and here. I use that to head over to the right side of the tree. I think I picked up Mind of Matter somewhere between level 30 and 40. You don't really need it that early until you're like around level 40, honestly. I did not bother picking up any of the block nodes until around 70, like between 65 and 70 is where I like started to pick them up. And I swapped to Detonate Dead by maps. Like, you can, if you want to, just level with Detonate Dead on a 4-link. It's pretty strong too, but going through the act, through the campaign, I would recommend doing Armageddon Brand and just wait with Detonate Dead until you hit maps. So, I hope I have not forgotten anything. So this will be the end of the video, and flashback starts in 2 hours from now, which kind of sucks because I haven't slept yet, so I'm probably just gonna rush through the campaign and go to bed and get up early. But yeah, what was I gonna say? One last thing. Yeah, the passive building. So I'm gonna give you my standard character's passive building. I suppose it has a bit more of the ideal gear, but I need you to remember this. Ignore the frenzy. Ignore the frenzy. Ignore my Disciple of the Slaughter. Ignore my phase run setup. Alright, let's play flashback. Bye!